Welcome back to the channel. So I want to talk about how I made over $300,000 by sending out mailers. So let me explain. So I sent out 1,800 mailers over the span of 6 months. That's 300 letters a month. And I was able to buy two off-market apartment complexes that I currently own, my 26 unit and my 20 unit apartment complex. And I bought both of those with instant equity of $300,000 day one, plus the ability to renovate the units, raise the rents up to market value, and that would almost double the value of both of those apartment complexes. So I made $300,000 of equity day one just by sending out direct mail to owners for my first two apartment complexes. So why I use direct mail is because there's no good deals on LoopNet. There's no good deals on Crexy. All the brokers that you reach out to on LoopNet and Crexy, they'll add you to their off-market list, their pocket listings. But those deals would be so bad that they're way overpriced. And the moment the broker touches a deal, they inflate the price so much that the numbers just don't make sense if you're using traditional financing. And if you try to ask for creative financing, because I always preach, your price, my terms, they don't understand creative financing. The moment you say it, they don't take you seriously anymore. They just move on to their other buyers that they have in their list. So my solution was okay, if brokers aren't giving me good deals, if LoopNet has no good deals, I want to take the control to my hands. I chose direct mail because to me it was easy. I can outsource it to third party. I use Yeller as complete, and I get my data from PropStream for the leads for property owners. You can have affiliate links down below in the comments in the bio, and it'll link you exactly to Yellow's Complete. So you can use my exact Yellow's Complete template. If you click on the link down below, I also have my letter template as well for those who want to use my exact letter for that. But I like direct mail because I just outsource it, and then basically the more motivated people will then reach back to me, right? But your response rates can be a little bit lower. Average response rate is about 1 to 3% depending on the market. So if you're kind of like in a primary market, like Oklahoma City, it's going to be 1%. Or if you're in California, Florida, Texas, any hot market, it's going to be 1%. If you're in a more, market that's not as hot, like maybe somewhere in the southeast, your percentage will be around 3%. So I would say between 1 and 3%. So if you're sending 300 letters a month, you can expect between 3 to 10 responses, right? So you're basically paying about $500 a month to get about 3 to 10 responses. So when you do get a response, you want to take them very seriously, right? Because you spend a lot of money, a lot of effort, and just one deal is enough to cover the whole cost of your mailing campaign, right? I spent $3,000 on my direct mail campaign, and I made $300,000 through my first two deals. So that's basically, 100x return on my money. And now I own these two assets that are now generating me $10,000 a month in net cash flow. And after I do a cash out refinance on them if I want to, I doubled the value of both of these apartment complexes, right? I bought my first one for $500,000, putting in 300 worth of renovation, all in for 800. It's gonna be worth $1.6 million, at this current value, because I was able to double the rents and renovate a lot of the units. Get new roof, touch up the exterior. For my 20 unit, I bought it for 350. Interest rates went up, so cap rates went up, so the value went down. But the moment interest rates drop, cap rates will drop, and then the value will go up, right? So I expect that one to honestly, I bought for 350. I put in about 100 and 20 to fix it up. I think it's gonna be worth closer to 700 once interest rates drop down, right? So, um, that's why I like direct mail because, like, I'm working full time, I'm busy, I work a full time job, I commute. So it's just easier for me if I send out letters and then they just reach out to me, right? Like they'll call me, they'll text me, they'll send me an email. The first deal that my 26 unit, that guy was a lawyer, so he just sent email to me. Like he never wanted to talk to me because he's a lawyer. He wants everything written and documented, so it's proof, right? If you write it, you regret it. If you say it, you can forget it. So you want everything via email. So I complied, right? I just said, hey, like, to make an offer on your property, I would just need your T12. I would need a rent roll. And then from there, I could, analyze a deal with my lender and then, see how it goes. So, he sent me his P&L statements for, the past 2 years. It was very transparent. He gave me the rent roll with the current rent. And then, obviously collections, they fabricate that a little bit. They always say, oh, it's really good. But, in reality, there's always, one or two tenants that are not paying. But basically, I'd underwrite the deal, send it to the lender and be like, all right, well, a purchase price of like 500,000 or maybe like 700,000 makes sense, right? So I just said, all right, well, I know my top purchase point is 700,000. Let me see if I can get lower than that and buy it with some equity day one, right? So I just looked up tax assessed price and I offered, 500,000, which was the tax assessed price, and he accepted it. Like it was that easy, right? And then, throughout the whole process, he was very pleasant to work with. He now that like I'm working with bad buyers and some of my mobile home park, I realized that the two buyers or sellers that I was working with are actually great because they would communicate, they would do things timely, and I thought that was just a standard, right? Until I'm selling my mobile home park, and now both the buyers I had, like, they don't communicate. They take forever to do things. They're very slow. They do one thing at a time, right? Even though they could have done things simultaneously, and they're just really slow. But with the 26 unit, the 20 unit, the guy was a lawyer, so he helped draft up the contracts, purchase and sale agreement. He was there on the day of inspection. He'd open the units for us and let us show it. He was available. Asked for seller repair credit. I asked for 120,000. He said no, and I just said, well, okay, well, let me see what the property manager really needs fixed. And then, I asked for 60K, which was half. And he was just like, okay, that makes sense. So like, he was just very reasonable. And, same for the 20. And then on closing, he was very fast, very communicative, response fast. And same on my 20 unit, right? Like, he actually um, lost my letter, but he had the outer envelope with my address on it, and he literally wrote me a letter back saying, "Hey, I lost your name, your contact, but I'm interested in selling my apartment. Please give me a call." So I called him. Found out that it was a 20 unit in Enid, Oklahoma, and then kind of was in communication with him, on and off, like maybe once a month for about 6 months until finally I hit the point where because I just bought my 26 unit. I bought my mobile home park, and then I was just like, oh, well, I have some extra money here, so let me go buy this 20 unit over here. And then I reached back out to him, analyzed the deal, basically brought him down to about a 300. He wanted 420, but I brought him down to 350K. And the reason why I was to get a 70K discount was because all the lenders, I reached out to like I think 20 lenders, and all of them said that no, they didn't like the property. It was either too old, required too much renovation, the rents were too low, despite 15 out of 20 being occupied, right? So, I just said, okay, well, let me try to find a purchase price that makes sense for a lender, right? So I reached out to a hard money lender, and they were great to work with. I just said, all right, well, they're like, no, 420 doesn't work. And I just said, well, 350 work. And they ran the numbers, and they're just like, yeah, actually, we think 350 works. So I literally gave him my pre-approval letter from my hard money lender and said, well, I only got pre-approved to buy this at 350K. I know you want 420K. And he was just like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just get this contract, signed it. He's very communicative, very easy to work with. And that's how it should feel, right? Like when you're buying a deal with serious buyers or off market, it should flow very nicely. Like they respond to you in a timely manner. They're transparent with you. They communicate. Whenever they say something, they actually hold their word, right? That is how a buyer should be. And that's how I try to be. And that's how I am. And that's how I like to work with people doing that. But now that I'm selling my mobile home park, I'm just like, oh my God, it's the complete opposite. They don't communicate. They say that they're going to do something, they don't do it. They take forever to do things. And, when you're trying to sell something that's like losing money every day that's delayed, you're losing more money. They don't communicate. And then the brokers are terrible. They're slow. They're unorganized, right? This is why I don't like working with brokers. Like they're supposed to make it easier for you, make it run more smooth for you. But from my experience, the broker is making it more difficult. It's causing more delays. They're not as diligent. Like I'm literally checking my documents that I'm signing, but also the buyer's documents because the brokers are so incompetent, they're missing things that I'm doing it, right? So I said, what's the point of having you as a broker here? Like, you're not even doing anything, you're not even doing your job. So, I've kind of seen both ends, and um, now I kind of further validating that, like, I don't want to work with brokers. I mean, yes, there are good brokers out there, but majority of the time, the good brokers, maybe 1 out of 10 are good. The 1 out of 10 is not going to work with someone like me, despite owning 50 units, because they only work with like those big fish, those whales, right? Those syndicators. You're buying multiple deals. They don't want to like sell one random off deal to like, me who's like a solo investor. So that's just kind of the struggle you have to deal with. So that's why I actually prefer going direct to seller, because it's more in my control. I can communicate them directly. Like if I have to tell the broker something, and then the broker takes a day to respond and send it back to the buyer, and then the buyer takes a day to respond and send it back to the broker takes a day to respond. It's just like 5 days to do one simple question, versus like if I'm in direct communication with the other party, then we just communicate. I can text them directly, I can call them if needed, and just to facilitate things, right? So that's why I really like direct mail going off market. I just feel like it's more in my control. You're more likely to buy deals at instant equity day one. You're better able to facilitate the closing process. Like you would think that brokers make it easier, they don't. They make it harder, right? I always say brokers make you broke, right? And this is 9 out of 10. 90% of the brokers will make you broke. So, you know, I just use brokers as a way to learn about the market a little bit. Like I use brokers to see what an overpriced deal looks like. So this is an overpriced deal. So I need to find an off-market deal that's under that price, and that makes sense, and then that's how I'll make money, right? So I use brokers just to see what bad deals look like, and to, don't get me wrong, like they might send you a good deal once in a while, but for the most part, they don't. And for me, it's just kind of get to know the market. I might pick their brain, like, oh yeah, how do you see about Oklahoma? But of course, if you talk to a broker in Oklahoma, they're gonna rave about Oklahoma. If you talk to a broker in North Dakota, they'll rave about North Dakota, right? It's just like going to a barber shop and asking, "Do I need a haircut?" They're always gonna say yes. Or going to a car shop and saying, "Do I need an oil change?" Of course, they're gonna say yes. So just keep in mind that's the case. But for me, I only like to go off market now, and now that I have like two apartment complexes, some brokers will actually reach out to me and just say, "Hey, like I see you own this 26 unit. I'm selling this 20 unit, within 2 miles," and then I'll look into the numbers a little bit and see if it makes sense. Or my property management is also another great source now, where they can give me off market deals, where maybe they know another owner that they manage an apartment for wants to sell, and then they'll sell it to me and they'll get their commission because they're brokers, but then they're already managing the property, so I have all the numbers, I have all the financials, I have the transparency about that property. So I'd rather deal things that way, right? Like you may not buy it as good of a margin, but at least truly how the property is doing and how everything looks, because they're already managing that property. So, that's how you slowly scale and grow, right? And I tell my property managers that, like, hey, if you have good off market deals, like send it over to me. If you know other owners want to sell, reach out to me. I want to buy. So just make it known. But you can't rely on them either, because they want a high commission as well. So 3%. So for me, I always do direct mail, direct to owners. And now that I have a track record, it's even easier. I say, you know what, when you work with me, I want to be in direct communication with you. I don't like working at brokers and haven't had great experiences, because they always cause more delays, more issues. I'm happy to work with you directly. I've done this multiple times. You can use your title company, whatever you want to use. If you want to use mine, here's one that I've worked with before. You can view some of my properties I currently own in Oklahoma, like see how it's managed, how it is. You can meet my property manager. I can send my property manager there. They can inspect the properties. So it's just a lot easier, right? Like it gets easier the more and more you do it, the more experience you got, and it gets easier over time. That's after the initial learning curve that you can go through. So um, that's why I said, like, it's the law of the first deal. Like, yeah, the first deal is gonna be hard. Like most of my students, they send direct mail and they give up after like a month or two. I'm like, dude, you have to do it for like at least 6 to 12 months. Like the fact that I got 2 deals in 6 months is an outlier. I'll be honest. It probably can take you a year on average of being consistent, right? That's anything in life. It takes consistency and persistence to be successful at it. And the same goes with direct mail, but just getting one deal, like just my 26 unit alone is life changing enough, right? And then you got 20 unit as well, which is also life changing as well. So I'm pretty confident that if I send out more direct mail and I want to buy another deal, once my mobile park is sold and my two apartments, they're stabilized, right? But once interest rates drop down, I'm able to cash out refinance, pull out my down payment, renovation costs, additional money on top, and go buy another apartment complex with that money. Um, that's how I will, you know, scale. And I'm gonna use direct mail again in Oklahoma to find that deal. So it's just really the method I really like. Like I said, it's more efficient because they just call me if they're motivated, and a lot of times, like they'll throw your letter in the cupboard and call you 6 months later, right? Like, getting calls, and it just creates a more personalized touch and just makes things a lot easier for me, because like they just call me, and usually when they call you, I tell my students, and what I do is you respond within 24 hours. Even if you're busy, just like respond to a text, like, hey, I'm busy, but can we schedule a call on this day? Right? Like just respond and communicate. And, now that I have their contact information, like, I always said that when I'm starting to look for deals again, I'm going to go through my contact phone book and see all the owners that I didn't buy their deal and reach out to them and say, hey, like, how are things going? Like, has your situation changed? Do you want to sell this apartment complex now? Do you want to go down in price? Because, situations change, right? Like, it makes sense for me to buy at that time. Didn't, they weren't motivated to sell at that time, but now, 2 years later, they might be more motivated, or their situation might change, right? So I always reach out those leads first because I already had their contact. It's free, and then I will send out letters again to reach out to the various owners. So, um, next time when I am sending out letters, I'm going to document the process. I wasn't really into YouTube and documenting back then, but this time every month when I send out letters, I'm going to actually talk about how my letters did. I'm going to actually record the calls that I do with the sellers and basically give you updates on the properties I'm trying to like make offers on, right? So I want to document this process so that you can learn and basically have the same success that I have using direct mailing campaign. So, if you're interested in learning more about direct mailing campaign, check out my YouTube channel. I have a couple of videos where I do a masterclass on direct mail. If you're busy yourself and you want me to do your letters for you, I do offer a service where I combine a course and mentorship with direct mail automation. So I'll actually do your letters for you for a 6-month period, for a 12-month period, and actually have an option now, which is obviously the most expensive, but like I would basically work directly with you, where I will do your letters for you, and then when the owner calls you, I'm actually on the call with you, right? So it's almost like a three-way call where you have the owner, yourself, and then me. So I'm gonna be listening, and I can kind of jump in and pretend to be your partner to help convert some leads. So if you're interested in any of those services, click out the link in the bio, my link tree, or usually I leave a comment with the link tree. Click on that, click on the mentorship program, and then you can pick the plan that best suits your need. So hopefully you found value from this video. Hopefully this kind of inspired you to try direct mail, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.